Oh, you heard Draymond Green yesterday.
Before we play the sound, because I'm sure you heard it, you listened to it.
I caught portions of it. I didn't see it in its totality.
What did you think of what you saw?
I don't think he could have said anything at that podium that was going to appease the masses, nor myself, because at this point the talk is kind of irrelevant. It's about the actions moving forward. And I say this as someone who has apologized over and over and over and over for all the terrible things that I've done to people that I love, or that I care about, or that I want to have an amicable working relationship with. But there are certain things that I heard and I'm just like, it felt like to me, the word defiant might be a little strong, but it didn't feel to me like, not that I need him to give remorse, because I don't want to sit here and be like, he needs to show me that he is sad and mad at himself. He needs to show contrition to his teammates. And there are certain things that I'm sure people within that organization would like to see from him moving forward. But I don't know if him saying stuff or acting a certain way at a podium is going to achieve that. It's about the actions behind the scenes when there's no cameras. That's when the true test of if Draymond has made specific changes or if his teammates have allowed him to be back in their good graces.
You know, the only thing I wanted to hear was how could he move forward with Jordan Poole and then go to State Warriors. And there's a couple things that we'll get into. And, you know, the Warriors have been talking about trust. Looney, hey, he has to earn our trust back. Kerr, hey, he has to earn our trust back. Well, Draymond really didn't agree with the word trust. He talked about camaraderie. And I thought that was very interesting. But I do agree that how will they vibe on the floor? Because the one thing that the Warriors do for everybody in this market and around the world, they put a smile on their face.
Yeah.
Because of the way they play.
They play with joy.
Play with joy.
Yeah, it's fun.
Kerr always preaches it's fun, the movement, 30 assists, dunks, celebrations, camaraderie. Would that take a hit with this situation? Well, here's what Draymond Green had to say about that and the word trust.
Everyone says, like, build trust as a team. I don't really quite understand that. You know, what's trust? Is it trust that you're going to make the right play? I think I always make the right play. I mean, to the best of my ability. I don't always make the right play, but to the best of my ability. So is it that? Is it, what is that? I think, you know, what we do have to do is make sure we're together, you know, make sure we're doing the necessary things that it takes to win a championship, make sure we got each other's back. But I think of so many different things when I hear the word trust that I'm not always certain that that is the most fitting word for what people are trying to say. I think it always sounds good and everyone kind of has this idea of what that means, but yet, you know, what does that truly mean? I don't quite know.
So that's right there.
So hold on. Kendra Andrews, ESPN, followed up with that. If trust isn't the word, what is?
Do you have a word in this instance that you think?
I think it's making sure our team camaraderie is right. You know, I think that's always important. Like, you can tell when you're playing against a team and they have bad camaraderie, you can tell right away. I know I can. I kind of feel for that. You know, you're looking to see if they got good camaraderie, because if not, they can be broken easy. And so I think for me as a leader on this team, like, you just got to make sure you have good camaraderie. If you have that, you can almost build through anything if you got good camaraderie amongst your guys. So
one of my big beefs in life is when people like lose their mind over a specific word and the real definition of that meaning, because certain words mean certain things. Like, man, he's bad. That could mean he's really stinks at what he's doing, or he's really good at what he's doing, depending on how I interpret that. And I know that people like Steinmetz, and I've listened to Matt talk about this, his family is a teaching background. And so the definition or the root of a word really matters to him. It doesn't to me. We just disagree on this. Like, so being caught up in the semantics of the definition of a word, like, to me, is like, come on, man. Yeah. You know what the metaphor of what people are going at here. And that's where I'm like, again, I'm not outraged, but I'm just like, come, Trey, can you read the room a little? Can you just read the room a little?
I do agree with him in this sense, the camaraderie. What is that going to be like? Because camaraderie in 2019, even though they made the NBA Finals and went to Game 6, you could tell the camaraderie wasn't all the way there. It wasn't all the way there with the Golden State Warriors. That last year, you saw the camaraderie back. right?
Yes.
We saw it back.
Yes.
And I expect it to be even better this year. And that's the vibes we got in Japan. Remember the vibes we all got in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
They're out there in Tokyo. We see all the photos. We see all the videos. We see the three-point shootout. We see them play. It's like, man, this team's having fun. The camaraderie was there. Would that take a hit with this situation with Draymond Green and Jordan Poole? Draymond did say, and I agree with that sense, that, yes, I want to see the camaraderie back. How will that affect it? Time will tell. Time will tell. We'll get a glimpse at it tonight against the Denver Nuggets.
But like, again, I don't want to pick apart all the words because I've gotten in issues with people where I'll say something like this. For example, so and so was great.
Right.
Was he great or was he really just kind of good?
Right.
And nothing is more annoying to me when people do that kind of stuff.
I do that. I'm like, well, because I hear everything's great. I'm like, well, everything can be great.
I hear you.
Well, it's a great. You
But
know what
meet
I'm
me
saying?
in the middle in a situation like
no
this,
doubt.
and this is where I'm at. Like, meet me in the middle a little. Read the room. Understand that, like, hey, man, you get more bees with honey, right? In this situation, you trying to parse up words like you're an English teacher. To me, it does you no favors. At this point, like, read the room and understand that if you just show an ounce of understanding of the greater good of the big picture, it just means more to the fan base. Like, I don't think he realizes how much a lot of fans are not going to view him the way that he thinks he's going to be viewed.
And quite frankly, I don't know if that's his job to really care about that. He's got a job to do on the basketball court. Fans will be fans, right? There's some fans who are riding with Draymond to the end of the day. I said it yesterday. 10 years from now, I don't want to remember Draymond for this. I want to remember Draymond for all the good that he did, not totally ignoring the bad that he did, but hopefully he learns from the bad things, and hopefully he continues to learn as a person. I learn something about myself every single day. I try to grow every single day. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And I hope that Draymond, and he said that yesterday, he's like, look, I'm not perfect, and I'm trying to learn and grow every single day. I hope the fans, look, and I can't tell a fan what to do, how to do it with their own money, how they look at Draymond Green. I get it. I get why you would look at Draymond Green like this.
Well, I personally believe that when someone shows vulnerability, even just a little bit, it makes them more endearing.
And
it may not work day one, but over time, and I'm not saying you got to do it all the time, but I do believe that when you're constantly stubborn on your opinions and you don't show that vulnerability.
So you don't think he did yesterday?
Well, I look at Barry Bonds as an example, and no, I don't think he did that yesterday. But like Barry Bonds, has he ever truly shown vulnerability?
I think he has.
What's the most vulnerable moment of his career? I would say it's one of the most endearing parts of his career.
When he was playing?
When he was on crutches and he was with his kid and he looked vulnerable physically and emotionally.
Nico was wearing a Barry Sanders jersey.
Yes, and he was on crutches and he did.
But I think after his career, he has. I think he's opened up a lot more.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
So just talk about during his career.
But the greater impression of most people when they hear Barry Bonds, defiant, know, stubborn, will never show any vulnerability whatsoever.
It's the interview I can't find on YouTube anywhere where he was at the podium at Scottsdale. He goes, "Give me names. Names. Remember that one?
Yes, I do.
I can't find that
anywhere. He was coming after everyone.
Right.
Now, why do I love Steve Young as a person? He constantly shows vulnerability.
No
and
doubt.
I think it's very endearing to people. Now, I'm not saying that Draymond's got to be the most vulnerable person. He's got to sit down with Dr. Phil and cry or none of those things. Just an ounce of reading the room. And I think that's one of his big blind spots right now is that he clearly sometimes is so stubborn in I'm not going to show any vulnerability. And I wish someone in his group, in his camp, someone close to him would say, dude, if you just showed a little bit of vulnerability, everyone would allow you to grow from this and we can move on.
Ponte, did you learn that you're still hood today? No, the hood would never leave me. I've grown from it.
It just felt like the immediate dismissal. To me, the immediate dismissal of the word trust. It was like, here we go again. That's what I think a lot of people felt.
It's, and I can see that because Looney talks about trust. Curry talks about trust. Steph Curry talked about trust.
You didn't think that was backhanded?
Everybody, it's just
or at least interpreted as such?
I just thought, man. What I thought in my head, I was like, oh, man.
That's exactly the way I interpret it. Like, it's not the end all be all, but yeah.
But here's why
I'm with you on that.
Because I think about everybody else. I think about all the fans. I think about media members. I think about people who are around the Golden State Warriors. I think about how people view Draymond Green. I'm thinking, oh, man, that's not going to help. But I understand what he said. Look, I'm worried about the camaraderie. Because maybe in his mind, he thinks the trust is there on the basketball court. And what are we talking about? Trust on the court to make a good play? You heard him. Or are we talking about trust in the locker room? Camaraderie builds trust. Trust comes with camaraderie. They
go together. I'm with you on that.
It goes hand in hand. So that's how I saw it. I was like, I'm not. But I do when Kerr, Looney, and Curry talk about trust.
Yeah.
And he basically says, I don't see it like that. I can see why people say, he's being defiant. But here's another one. I'm worried about the relationship with Jordan Poole because we've yet to hear from Jordan Poole. We might not hear from Jordan Poole until, again, all this entire situation. At the end of the day, how's Jordan Poole feeling? Can you look at Draymond Green and say, well, Draymond Green was asked about that relationship with Jordan Poole?
I'm not sure. As I said before, that's not up to me, nor do I think there's much relevance. Quite frankly, we both know how to play basketball, and that is the most important thing for us. We're paid to do a job. We're going to come and do that job to the best of our ability, and we want to continue to win, so we're going to do what we have to do to win. Everything else outside of that, well, number one, be handled amongst us, but number two, it's neither here nor there. What we do on the basketball court is what's important. I think sometimes we get so caught up into trying to analyze people's lives instead of analyzing basketball. And one thing I'm damn sure of is we play good basketball together. Hence the fact we won a championship. So we'll continue to build on that.
So to me, that was telling. One is that Jordan Poole and Draymond may never be boys again. My hope is that 15 years, 20 years, when the Warriors are celebrating this championship and they're bringing everybody back to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of last season's championship, that they can get along. One of the things that bugs me so much about T.O. and Jeff Garcia is that they never rehash their differences. They're not boys anymore. And they played some of the best football of their careers together, Jeff Garcia and T.O. They were hand-in-hand or synonymous together. Jeff Garcia and T.O., they made things happen. And yet, T.O. said what he said about Jeff Garcia. Jeff Garcia hasn't really accepted that apology. They're not boys. That bugs me, man. My favorite team and two of the most impactful players of my childhood, adulthood, they're not getting together. So I don't want that for Jordan Poole and Draymond Green. However, for this season, he said, look, we got to be pros on the court. That's what matters. They don't have to go home together and eat dinner. Barry Bonds and Jeff Kent wasn't having ribeye steaks together. You know what I'm saying?
No,
on the
I hear
baseball
you.
field, they play together. So
no, I hear you, and I agree with that sentiment. But in Draymond's perspective, at least I'm looking at Draymond, I'm saying you can't have it both ways. And this is the way I view it. Like, you can't tell me it's me and Clay and Steph and we built this and we're the family and talk about how your camaraderie is part of what makes you better than everyone else. And then in the same sentence say, all that other stuff don't matter. Just judge us on winning and losing. It's like, well, wait a minute. If that's the case, then why'd you have such a big problem with Kevin Durant? You had this big issue with him not locking himself into this situation because of who you were and the core that you've built and the family that you have, and you felt like he was an outsider. To me, that's inconsistent. Yeah, and that's my biggest issue right now. And again, it's not the end of the world. You still win everything, and winning's the greatest deodorant. But like the reality is the things that come out of his mouth are super inconsistent and they feel fraudulent.
Yeah, and speaking of this situation, Kevin Durant spoke to Nick Friedel yesterday, cousin Nick, and he said, it's rare. It's rare. I've been in the league for 16 years, and I've never seen that until the other day on camera, talking about Draymond Green punching Jordan Poole. So let's get to the lines after this 45-second clip on Draymond, whether or not he was asked whether or not he has added motivation this season to play harder.
Yeah, I'm going to prove a lot of people wrong this year. I've been proving people wrong my whole life. So, there's some added motivation and not quite proving people wrong because the same people that's talking now have been the same people that's talking forever, and they've been wrong the entire time. Then they just give new hot takes about how you can't do it this time, but never acknowledge the time that the million times that they said you couldn't do it and were wrong. So not quite motivated by those people, but there are definitely some motivations that's been sparked by some people, and I'm going to use that, and I'm going to do exactly what I do when I'm motivated in a major way. And I think you and I both know what that is. So I'm looking forward to this year. It's going to be a fun year.
See, I know that part of him being who he is that chip on the shoulder, being a second-round pick, being a tweener, when no one brings that word up anymore in the NBA, but that used to be a thing. Tweener was a bad thing. He's positionless. I understand all that. But you can't have this, I got chip on my shoulder, dude, and then go on the shop and basically say, when the chips are against us and the season's a wash, I tap out. You can't have that both ways. Again, this goes back to being inconsistent. I mean, it really does. And I think that it's frustrating. Like, dude, we love you, Dre. We know you're great. We get all that. But, dude, do you even keep a receipt of the things that are coming out? Like, do you?
Fans
it's
do.
so frustrating.
Fans do, and a lot of fans I know, man, they're tapping out on Draymond. I love Draymond Green. I do. It just feels like to me when I was listening to that, and we'll play the contract stuff in a second. We'll get to the lines. AJ, stay on tap. Jay, Darrell, Greg. It just feels like this is it. This is the last year with Draymond Green. And we all hope as fans, we want to see our great players retire with your organization, right?
You want that.
You want that.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted T.O. to be a Niner forever. I wanted Rice to – right, Jerry Rice played for the Raiders.
I know. So did Montana.
Yeah,
Montana
played for the Chiefs.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, our favorite
Will
players
Clark.
are like, man, Will
McCovey
Clark.
even went to the Padres.
You know,
Willie Mays went to the Mets.
You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? It's like, damn. Like, we want to see our guys stick with us. Stick with Bumgarner's in Arizona.
I'll take it back.
I bet you would.
But you know what beats it to that point?
But like it just feels like he knows what the contract situation.
Well,
and I'm not going to talk about the contract every single day. We know what it is.
No, but it's part of it. It's part of it. But B, also, wouldn't you agree? Like, and this is something I've learned as I've gotten older in life. If you want a lot of things, at some level there needs to be concessions and compromise. Right? Like that's how life works.
Yeah.
Whether you're married, whether you're not married, whether you're searching for a home, whether you're searching for a job, you have to be able to, whatever it is that you want in life, you have to be able to find certain concessions and compromises so that it works. And it feels like to me, it's always when it comes to him, no. I'm 100% right. Y'all got to come to my side of the room. Every now and then, dude, you got to meet me in the middle. Every now and then. I'm not saying you got to all the time be, I'm sorry. No one's asking for a sorry. Just read the room a little.
Let's go to AJ in the Bay. AJ, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey, you know what? Team Draymond 100%, man. Joe, listen, man, we're talking about a roast. You're about to get roasted over here. Draymond was on point. Trust is overrated. You know, what matters is the camaraderie out there. I don't care if he hangs out with Jordan Poole in the off season. I don't care if he's going to a pool party or not. He's got his life. He's going to live his life. How do they perform on the court? That's all people care about. That's it. This is way overrated. No one cares about Jeff Garcia and T.O. being boys anymore. I don't go to sleep at night worrying about that stuff.
I didn't say I did. I just said I wish that AJ. Real quick, hold on, AJ. I'll let you finish. I just said I wish they did. I don't go to sleep at night saying, "Oh man, T.O. Jeff Garcia. Oh my God." I never cared back then. I just wish that happened. I wish we could all get along at the end of the day. Teammates like my teammates in high school, and I know it's high school. I love that. Most of them are still my boys. That's all we're saying, AJ. We're not thinking about it. We know how pro sports work.
And the coach didn't trust him in game 4 for the entire second half until 4 minutes to go. Like, we act like he's got all the trust in the world. That there is an element of camaraderie, part of the root word, if you want to go definitions. Trust is in that definition.
Let AJ finish. Go ahead, AJ. You can finish.
Yeah, you know, it's a narrative that people want to stick to, and then people will, you know, the masses will always have what they want to lean on. But what matters is what happens in between that room, between those guys, and how they go through things, and not everybody else blowing it out of proportion. And you know, a man does wrong, he does wrong. Whatever happens to understand.
But when part of your team, and I'll let you finish, but when part of your team is coming out and using a specific word for 3 days straight, and then I'm talking multiple people, Curry, Looney, they're all using the trust word, and then the first interview you have or you sit down, what do you say? You dismiss that one word?
You know.
That felt hollow.
And you know what's funny? Go ahead, AJ.
It felt very dismissive.
We get the Darrell and
to
Greg
the other guys in that room.
Go ahead, AJ.
This conversation is dismissive. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good. This is what people do. This is how people treat people.
What are you talking about?
I don't know what he's talking about.
What are you talking about?
Darrell in Oakland, what's happening? You're on the roast.
Hey guys, you know I've been listening to this and Draymond has a reputation, and here's the one thing that's really hard to recover. You know, the founding father, what is his name, Thomas Paine, he had a great quote. The hardest thing to recover is a tarnished reputation. And so the Warriors have a reputation as well. Guess what? Their reputation took a hit. And look, I have kids that are 2 and 5. I don't want to see somebody punch a teammate that vicious. They're not going up for a rebound, fighting for a rebound or anything. Draymond walks up to him and then punches him as hard as he can. I don't want to see that guy. He has a reputation, so do the Warriors, and that reputation was tarnished.
It took a hit a little bit. It definitely took a hit because
he's right
Jeff
there.
Van Gundy in the New York Post saying, I've never seen this. And he coached the Knicks. He said, I never seen anything like this. He didn't get suspended. A lot of people around the NBA are alarmed that Draymond Green didn't get suspended. Again, I trust the Golden State Warriors and how they did their due diligence. I give Steve Kerr and Bob Myers all the respect in the world. They're great people. They understand what's happening here. It's a tough situation to navigate. I trust them to navigate this situation. Can they be pros on the court? And can there still be camaraderie within the basketball team? That's where we're at now. I'm not going to go and rewind 2 weeks. Will it linger? No doubt. There's no doubt. And it ain't just going to be the media that's going to be pinpointing every little handshake and every little interaction. It's going to be fans too. It's not going anywhere. It just is what it is. So, play some Draymond thoughts, and we got a break here, Saskia. Got to be quick.
Maybe I'm the foolish one for thinking that the zebra could change his stripes, right? Maybe this just is who he is, and he's never going to change at all, and that's totally fine. It might all work out for them. It might.
Look, man, Draymond's a good dude. I don't think he's a bad person. He had a bad act. I don't think he's a total bad dude.
There.
So
I agree.
I'm not going to go there.